Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Philosophy Videos. Today I'm going to show you what I actually did with the interchange design. First I'm going to show you the city where I'm going to apply this design. This is something you saw in my previous video, the one I called Best Interchange is No Interchange, where I showed you how to manually make the interwoven highways with the off-ramps going left and right depending on where that highway is. And this is the city that I showed you in one of my previous videos before that, where I showed you how to start a city properly and make a bunch of money and have a profitable city as soon as you start. So now, in order to show you how exactly the best interchange without actually being an interchange works, let me show you first my Philosophy's the raised highway side change. This I can place here, and this is something I showed you, like I said, how to make manually, but this is a pre-made asset that you can download from the workshop for this game. Now, as you can see, this means that cars going down the highway on the right side will then turn onto the left side and become the left highway, giving you the ability for the vehicles coming into the city on the right side to both turn to the right and get off to your right side of the city or to the left side of the city, depending where the highway is, and the same going for the other direction highway. So this, like I said, is the city where I chose to implement this, and I will show you how it looks like once this is implemented and the other side of the city is zoned as well. So back here, but a lot of time into the future. This is year 2028. We have 2 million in the bank, a nice profit margin of weekly income, 30,000 population, and as you can see, we have two sides of the city. They aren't created equally. As you saw a moment ago, these streets here were kind of different size. There were no 6-lane roads here. They were just 2-lane roads. And there were no roundabouts, nor was there the other side of the city that's over here. And of course, the interwoven highway is the main addition. Now, it is night at the moment, and I can speed up the game to reach morning to show you the morning rush hour and how it works on this map. So because this is video mostly about traffic, I'm not going to bother you with the details of how I zoned build this part of the city. If you want that, I can cover that in another video. But like I said, the point of this video is the traffic. And although you can see here that it says average traffic flow 86%, you can take a look at the city and see that there is only one red mark. This one is kind of dark orange. So the only red part is here. This is where the train station, the cargo train station is. And it, even though it shows here that there is no road connection, there is. This is just the highway off-ramp because this is a single lane street highway off-ramp, and it provides the ability for traffic to just simply go in and go out without the complication of a second lane, which is useless because this building can only take traffic at one point and exit on another. Now, the reason why this is here is because the train railway system was here at the start of the map. I didn't want to change anything, so it is located here, but it takes the traffic from over here, from this industrial area where I have all these lumber mills. So like you can see here on the import page, there is a lot of these buildings here that are green, which means they're importing forestry products, even though I do have a bunch of these tree growing plots that are actually exporting, which means that these buildings that are importing wouldn't even need the import because there's plenty here locally, but the game works in mysterious ways, and even though you have enough of production locally, some of these buildings will import forestry products, even though there are next door forestry industry that is exporting those same forestry products. But let's go beyond that. The point of this is that this part of the city creates the most traffic because of the huge import and export. But also if you go to the import page, you can see that my commercial buildings are mostly importing from the region because I do not create enough in my small generic industry, which is over here, and it doesn't export because all of the goods are spent by these commercial buildings, which are getting abandoned because they don't have enough university educated students, but this will be fixed later. And the point is that this industry is producing just enough goods to lessen the import, but not enough for all the commercial buildings. And now back to the main point of this is the traffic. As I said, this is the part of the city that has the most traffic because of all the exports from the industry producing forestry products. And if you look over here, there is a cargo harbor that sees almost no traffic, and another one here that also sees very little traffic. But to go back to the main point, whoops, what do we have here? Not enough power. All right. Sorry for this small delay in the explanation of the interwoven highways, but now I'll slow down the speed to 1 and show you. As you can see from this node here, we can see that the traffic flows and tries to use multiple lanes. This is what was required from the traffic for this actually to work. The traffic needs to use more than just the outermost left lane, depending on which highway you're looking at, because using just the outermost left lane requires the traffic to not have on and off ramps on the left side, but just on the right side. This is why you have to use the traffic manager and its tool to allow you to switch what traffic can do on each lane in order to make sure, for example, here where we have an on-ramp, so that this traffic cannot use the rightmost lane, so that this traffic coming up doesn't have anything to compete with, and only then after can it use this third lane. So the third lane is allowed only to go to the left, to this middle lane, and that way this is left free for the traffic to flow, and it can use the left or the middle lane. And this, as you saw right now, allowed that truck and this truck to easily come onto the highway. If we go on to the other side, we can see the same thing happening. For example, for an off-ramp, you can see here that only going to the right side is allowed on the third lane, which means that any car wanting to use the off-ramp has to change from the first or the second lane over to the third lane, cross there down, and if they want to continue forward, they switch from the middle to the first lane or just continue going through the middle. This way you can be able to have these interwoven highways which allow the traffic to flow on both sides of the city without creating any real interchanges. Now we can go back to the traffic overview and we can just watch how there are no problems with traffic whatsoever. And I also added these roundabouts just to show that both of these options for making the connecting roadways over to the city are available as an option, because both roundabouts and just a plain old 6-lane road will work just as effectively with this design. I can of course do any follow-up videos if you have any questions in the comment section of this video, and I can show you or change anything that you want to change to see how this is actually operating. Also, one thing to note is that when you're using these 6-lane roads with two-way roads, so that on one side you have 3 and the other side you have 3, there is a slight issue by default that you have to use the traffic manager to change. This is the fact that the traffic, for some reason, loves to use a lane 1, just like on the highway, to go forward. But this is a real problem for a proper city, because traveling forward on lane 1 is a problem, because lane 1 should be used to turn left. Therefore, you always need to turn off the traffic's ability to use the first lane to travel forward and just leave it for the lane 2. From that lane, it is easy for traffic to switch over to lane 3. The important thing is that it cannot turn from lane 2 over to the left or right side, and therefore it is forced to use lane 2 if it wants to move forward, and lane 1 or 3 to turn left or right respectively. This way you're going to be able to have proper traffic throughout the city, and this is something that the developers haven't fixed even, what is it now, 4, 5, 6 years since the game came out, but it is something that thankfully to the mods you can fix by yourself. Like I said, if you have any comments, I will do a follow-up video, show you more of this, and if I find the time, I will do this interwoven highway design on an even larger scale city that I have in one of my save files. But for the sake of this video, like I said, I wanted to show you how this would look like in a city that has both low high density, that has generic industry, that has specialized industry, that has everything that a city needs, and everything that a city is operating with, both when it comes to services and the citizenship and the well, I should say three things: citizenship, services, and import and export of goods. And like I said, one more time, we can take a look at the traffic here. You can see that there are no stoppages, no problems. The traffic will just flow through these areas, and sometimes I might have this problem here, like I said, with the traffic going from one side of the city to the other. But once again, you can notice where this problem comes from, and it is from that bad usage of lanes. As you can see, the first lane, instead of being used for turning, it's being used for going forward. Once you disable this, the traffic will have to use the middle lane to move forward and not to turn on to the side. And this is one of the more important things that you have to take care of, so that the traffic doesn't give you additional problems. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned on my channel for more videos.